was billed as the ultimate sports podcast.
I told you, all of my critics, I told you all that I was the greatest of all time.
Everybody has been waiting.
I'm God gifted.
He's a bull. I'm the matador.
This is the Weekend Guide Podcast, and it begins now.
Speaking of dominance, what do South African football teams need to do to stop Sundowns' dominance? I mean, there's been a shake-up. I was shocked with the Moroka Swallows move, and I wondered why Kaizer Chiefs didn't do the same. Why didn't
Kompela?
Why didn't Kaizer Chiefs take him first? Because remember,
he does come from there.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago.
Indeed.
Can you always bring him back?
No, there's also a sense of pride that you left us for a better situation, or we fired you, and you found a better situation, and you actually, or the grass was green on the other side. And now the pride of asking you to come back
is problematic.
Indeed.
But remember,
indeed,
it's like the whole Man City flow down thing. The Arsenal is benefiting from the flow down of Man City, isn't it? With Mikel Arteta working with Pep Guardiola, which is fine. The systems are better, and Arsenal is prospering from that. Another one is the captain Vincent Kompany is coaching in, I think, second division England or something like that.
Oh no, they got promoted with Burnley now.
Yeah,
so
he's back in Premier League now. So I'm not saying that Sundowns do it better. Maybe Kaizer Chiefs are not of that opinion. But Steve has been there for quite some time. He's been absorbing how things are done, and I'm pretty sure to share that knowledge, how they do things.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, okay, this is my opinion.
Make a difference.
Yeah, Urulani
but I think
Pep Guardiola or something like that.
But Sundowns' playbook has been very clear for a very long time, right?
Yeah.
We buy the best players from our opponents.
Yeah.
Barring Chiefs and Pirates. But if we can't get them from also Chiefs and Pirates,
they do take
we
them.
will. And what they then do is they're very ruthless with their current squad. You know, it's either you're the best in your position or you're surplus to goods.
Yeah.
Right?
They don't give that chance where you're going to be the superstar after some couple of games. No. So the model they've adopted is the world model.
Yes.
The Champions League model.
Yes.
So if not operating at the Champions League model, like you're still doing favors for players. So I'm going to come back to my team. You come up billiard. Your Itumelong Kunis.
He's well past his heyday. And
Itumelong Kunis.
Extensions.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Those players would have been long gone from Kaizer Chiefs if we wanted to compete at the African level at this stage.
Yeah.
To win the Champions League, you need to get rid of players like Sundowns to do with Andy Lijali. Just do it, fuck off. We don't need you. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, we had an elite level. So we still want to keep these old crocs and not evolving the team. Football must be ruthless. It has to be ruthless in order for it to work.
Indeed. So, and also it goes down to the fact that Sundowns invests in their squad, in their facilities, in their club more than any other South African club.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have an unlimited
budget.
Yes, a budget to work off. But in the past, the Soweto Giants had more money than a lot of teams, but they did not invest aggressively into their system and infrastructure as Sundowns is. So for me, the dominance will continue, and as long as majority of Sundowns players are South African players, it bodes well for Bafana.
Yeah, of course it does.
So I do not have an issue.
And I think for me, that's where we need to get to. All the teams, especially the top three teams.
Yeah.
This culture of
Mediocrity.
preserving and nurturing players past their sell-by date, it's not working for us at Kaizer Chiefs. That's why we are struggling to beat these minor teams in the league, not making it. If we had the culture of saying, hey, dude, you're done, move on. It's over. It's over.
No doubt. And look, for example, Kaizer Chiefs announced 6 players. 3 out of those 6 players are 29 and older.
What's
right?
the use of buying that?
So my question is, yes, no, I won't question the quality,
Yeah.
right? But my question is, what is in the vision, right? Are you saying you want success right now, or are you investing in the future, right? So those are the questions I'm asking, because if you want success right now, out of the 6, which ones are internationals in the Bafana Bafana squad right now, or the last Bafana Bafana squad right now, right?
None.
If they are for the future, then who is competing or being nominated for the Young Player of the Award, or
None.
whose stats are like really
None.
knocking at the door?
You can
So
never.
those are the questions.
You can never
I need to ask.
buy a 29-year-old for the future.
Mm.
That's impossible.
Mm.
That
Because
means
he's given his best years to his previous team.
yeah, and that means that there's no scouting team. You see, 24-year-olds.
Yeah.
That's the players you buy, but you don't just buy a young 24-year-old. You buy the phenoms, like the potentials to be something.
Mm.
But it goes back to the nonsense we are in this country.
Mm.
The people running our football. The reason our teams are struggling at this level is because even from ground level,
Yes.
the people running football in our country gave themselves 500,000 rand, 40 of them.
But
Gave
bro,
themselves-
I've been telling you, the problem with SA football
They
is
gave
not
themselves
the players.
500,000
It's
rand
the
each
administrators.
salary for 4 years of service in Safa. 40 people by 500,000.
Wow.
On top of that,
That should be about 4
20,000.
million, ne?
Somewhere there. More than 4
If
million.
not,
That's
four,
more.
500,000 each.
Each
Oh,
times 40.
Jeez.
That's not 4 million, that's like 40 million.
Wow.
For what? For what?
Bear in mind, the last 4 years includes a COVID year, ne?
Yep. For what? From 2019.
Must
From what?
be nice.
For
Must
what?
be nice.
Each got 500,000. For what? What have they achieved? Has Bafana Bafana gone to Cup of Nations the last 4 years?
Man, you looking too far. The bare minimum should be a World Cup qualification, right? Because that tells us we are running a world-class organization.
World Cup, remember, the not only for the men.
Yeah, both.
So all teams.
Both associations.
Yeah.
We're talking now men, we're talking
Women.
women, we're talking
Under
both under
20,
20s,
whatever,
or
under
under
23s.
23s.
Make the under
juniors.
23s can only make the Olympics.
Yeah.
They make the Olympics.
Did they make it?
No.
No, they didn't. So if we are judging administrators based on the national team's achievements, and we'll call achievements qualifications to world-class stages, they have failed dismally.
People call them
So,
Safa, ne?
If you
People
break
call them
down-
Safa.
yeah,
It's called Safa. I call bullshit. It's called bullshit.
no, you're getting it wrong. It is Safa. We are suffering.
We are suffering.
We are suffering. We are
Dr.
suffering.
Kumalo on his show on SABC raised something about the whole Banyana Banyana saga.
Yes.
Apparently got harassing SMSs, people sorting at him. Some Safa delegates so sorting
Yes.
at him on
Are you
on his
surprised?
phone.
Are you surprised?
So are you trying to tell me that Safa's politics? So they're all corrupt.
No, so what I'm trying to put to you is, if someone thinks that it's their God-given right to be Gulesalo, right, when you question their actions, you are not questioning their credibility as an administrator. You're questioning their integrity as an individual.
Yeah.
Because I think it's my God-given right to be in this position. I am NEC member. I am above
I
everything.
think what's
So
going
when you
on
question my actions, who are you who is below me to question?
is Dr. Kumalo.
But Dr. Kumalo, when what last was irrelevant in football?
This is why they need to take
This is
over.
the attitude
Lucas
that they have.
Kate raised the same issue. I think it's time to bring them in. Those guys should be running our football because it's their time.
If you bring them in, who are you taking out?
All of them. Have you seen who? Did you hear what Riel Drama said on the Robert Marau
Please
show?
tell me.
Oh, she said, FIFA 2010 legacy. Safa got 600 million rand from FIFA.
600 million
Million
rand.
To date, does not exist. They don't know what happened to it.
And to show how bad our administration is, and I always use a practical example. In 2010, the 10-year-olds of 2010 are 24 or 23 this year, right? Meaning that had those funds been invested correctly, our Olympic team would have
Been in the
bore the
Olympics.
fruit of that investment.
Kaizer Chiefs should be having the phenomenal players.
No,
should be there.
just not even Kaizer Chiefs.
Everyone.
South African football,
Should
the
get
current
that.
generation of 23-year-olds and below should be different to everything that has come
Because
before.
it should be because the 10-year-olds who were 10 in 2010, they should be the superstars right now as we speak.
Exactly, the beneficiaries
And
of
coming
that fund.
from another level of development you've never seen before.
Because look at it in two ways, right? One, the infrastructure that the FIFA World Cup had, right? So it's not an issue of infrastructure, because World Cup made sure the infrastructure was there.
Yeah.
But now, how do you run these programs? With money.
Of course.
Then the legacy fund was there to run.
We
this
should
infrastructure.
typically be having the next Benny McCarthy by now. Born in 2010.
100%.
No, it's not 10 in 2010.
Yeah, it was 10 in
2010. The next Benny McCarthy should be in a European league somewhere.
Do we have one 23-year-old or younger in a top 5 European league?
No.
And that should tell you
They
how
are in
far or
Turkey,
how much-
USA.
Yeah.
They
how
reward
much,
USA.
how much that fund has failed, or the administrators have failed?
Where is it? That's the thing.
Questions that need answers, right?
Of
But-
course, it's
but
like Safa are not audited by the AG, for example.
No. I'm not even worried about that, right? Because Safa belongs to the people of South Africa, right? And Safa answers to the people
who?
of South Africa.
Who does Danny Jordan answer to exactly?
Right, but to government and parliament. But if you recall, Danny Jordan once ran for the mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay.
Yeah.
Right? Meaning that he's a what? ANC candidate. And who's the ANC candidate? It is our government. Right? So how does someone who's within our structures answer to us?
Yeah. And the problem is that this thing needs a parliamentary inquiry.
Yeah.
Into where the 2010 funds went. Then that's when people are going to start, the SIU needs to come in.
Indeed.
That's when we're going to be, because now it's a public institution. It's
Yes.
not your bed and breakfast.
Bank account.
It's not your bank account, your personal bank account where you do whatever you want.
Indeed.
It's a public institution. SIU needs to come in, AG needs to come in, and people need to start answering, because you cannot use our football as your personal financing.
True.
Because
So
someone needs to.
So this is an opportunity for another conspiracy.
Okay.
You know we do.
Oh, it's
this,
that time. It's that time. It's
every
that time
week.
for a conspiracy
Every
theory.
week.
Let me give it to the people. So people, if you've not been following the channel, we do have this segment called the conspiracy theory segment, where we divulge and look into suspicious and unworthy conduct of our officials, or unworthy conduct in any sport. So Sihle, what do you have for us this week?
Okay. So my conspiracy is that there will be an inquiry, and this inquiry will bear no fruits or no results, right? Because the people who will be investigating this inquiry will be in the same bed as the people suspected in this inquiry. So therefore, these FIFA funds were spent and paid off to certain individuals, right, for their own personal benefits, and as a way for all the sacrifices that they've made for South African football.
Because I think this is where the whole Banyana Banyana saga comes from, is that FIFA fans, Safa is viewing them as theirs. So FIFA is saying, for a player appearing in the World Cup, I'll pay you $30,000 US dollars for them.
Yes.
And then, but that's supposed to go to the player.
Indeed.
But the organization is saying, no, that's our money. We have our own separate agreement with you. Then we will pay you what we think we should pay you.
But interesting development that I saw today, right? The vice president of of Safa, came out to say no, that $30,000 will be given to the players, right? So they know because FIFA put that publicly, they cannot touch that money, right? But then that's the first part, right? There's a second part whereby then FIFA then said they'll allocate funds to the associations to ensure that the players get to the World Cup and are looked after, right? Which is fine. But now my question, right, is you knew Banyana Banyana qualified for the World Cup, right? What was your budget to ensure that they get to the World Cup, they're accommodated, and this is a successful
Have you
World Cup?
seen the stadium they played at for the World Game?
And
How does that make sense?
it really doesn't, because these are not just South African superstars, right, who are going to the World Cup. They are the reigning African champions.
How can you take them to a stadium which is not even PSL qualified?
Exactly. And for example, right, to show the incompetentity of Safa, right? The Phillies games, Gassi Champ of Champs, their final was played on Sunday at the Dobsonville Stadium. The same stadium Morocco Swallows plays in, the same stadium that Morocco Swallows was in the PSL playing in, the same stadium that Bafana had practiced in preparation for international friendlies. So if a Gassi tournament can manage to secure a PSL standard venue, why cannot Safa do the same for African champions?
Of course.
Why cannot they
It
do
shows
the
a lack of
initiative?
corruption.
Yeah.
Not lack of corruption.
No,
it shows
is.
corruption.
No, it is, because why? If we go to Zagani, right? I know the municipal manager there, or I know the stadium manager there. So FIFA or Safa will pay you, let me say, R1 million to host the event there. In that R1 million, guy 200,000 van. I'll ensure that Banyana Banyana come to Zagani. SABC is coming there. The sponsors are coming there. So there's money being pumped into having this fixture there.
Why are we taking African champions to a Gaza stadium? What the hell happened to Orlando Stadium?
Exactly.
If you're not gonna get FNB, Orlando Stadium is there. It's free moves.
Indeed.
Why don't you play? Why don't you play Banyana Banyana at Orlando Stadium?
And the worst part is it's the send-off match to the World Cup.
Yeah,
when
why put
last
them?
was a South African team going to the World Cup?
That was undermined. It's a good thing. I'm glad they didn't play that shit. That was shit.
100%. And I
That was
support
cut.
and I stand with Banyana
Yeah.
Banyana 100%.
Unless you're thinking that if there's a protest that's gonna go on, I'm going to join.
Indeed.
Screw that. I'll take my own board and go to join. This is nonsense.
Please make your comments about Banyana Banyana. We support them and we stand the ladies.
Yeah. I mean, what an embarrassment.
It is.
But apparently there's the same standoff in England actually. The English ladies are actually in the same boat as Banyana ladies on the whole pay drama thing.
But you know, and it's so unfortunate, right, that this drama is going on in more than one association. How often do you hear it in men's football?
No, it's because they don't value women's football.
And
They don't
that-
see them
and
as-
that is my issue.
Yeah,
And
because
that is my
even
issue.
even the hotel they were put in
Mm.
just crap.
Exactly.
Like you can never put. They don't see the value in women's football. And as for me, women's football is a very very valuable asset we can use to grow the game on the female side. Do you see what I'm saying? Those people are superstars.
I'm looking at it based on results,
Mm.
right? If we go results only, Banyana Banyana right now is more successful than
The Bafana, yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so people will then say, "Oh, commercial, the men's football makes more more money than the females' football," right? As an association, whenever you're dealing with sponsors, right, you are dealing with them to say you want to sponsor the South African Football Association. The South African Football Association is made up of Bafana, Banyana Banyana, Amakluk, Abantwana, like all these associations, so that by the time the sponsor signs the deal, they're not signing Bafana alone.
They're signing the whole thing.
Exactly. you know, and that's where the responsibility then comes from administration side. That
No, I
your
think-
responsibility is to sell South African football, not South Africans men's football only.
I think then this thing would warrant us taking to the streets,
Mm.
overthrowing this Safa movement and putting in the young guns, your Lucas Khadebes, your
Okay.
Dr. Kumalos.
Yes.
It's time for a change. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that 20 years from now, if they start fucking up, we'll put in more people younger than them who can actually move the game forward. Because at the end of the day, it's about the game, not about the individual.
True. And look, I'm a fan of having experienced administrators,
Yeah.
but we need a balance of experienced administrators with experienced footballers.
Of course.
You know, in the workplace, experience goes a long way in judging how competent you are and how senior you can become within an organization, right?
Yeah.
Listen, if you played at the highest level of football, you have more experience than someone
Who
who's
has
just been
never
an
touched
administrator.
football. I think we are in that FIFA era, the one highlighted on Netflix.
Yes.
These guys still think they can chow the money and no
Indeed.
consequences will come about.
Indeed.
The Minister of Sports needs to put through an inquiry
Mm-hmm.
or institute an inquiry, or the president or whoever.
I've got reservations. At
the end of the day, the Zondo Commission came up with
Recommendations.
recommendations, and some of them are brutal, but they'll still need to be implemented. We need the same for our football, because we cannot have an institution where we don't know where they're going, but the money is disappearing. People should be paid for their work, not being paid for nothing.
You know, and I'm glad you say that, right? And it's the big sporting codes in South Africa: cricket, rugby, and soccer, right? And the health and state of our football
Is the worst out of all of them.
Yes. And more attention needs to be paid to that.
Of course.
More attention needs to be paid to that.
Yeah. These guys should be answering to a parliamentary commission as to, okay, in the last 12 months, how have you guys done? Did you qualify for the tournament? No. Did you qualify?
Why?
Did our youth team qualify for the tournament? Why?
Why?
What's going on?
Why?
Parliament. Because the only people who can actually really speak for us is the people in Parliament.
True.
Those different commissions there who sit on these matters. So Daniel needs to answer to Parliament. But I don't know now where FIFA will say that we are interfering in the
politics,
matters of sport.
Yes. Yeah. And you see, that's the unfortunate part with football, that FIFA has given them that umbrella that politics cannot
interfere
overstep,
in sport. Yeah.
right? But for me, and I urge the public, our viewers, and our subscribers, right? Please make more noise about the state.
Yeah,
of
otherwise FIFA needs to suspend these guys for
football.
corruption.
Yeah, and the level of administration that we are getting.
Yeah, it's not good
Because
enough.
it's been consistently shit,
It's not good
for
enough.
lack of a better word.
It's not good enough.
Yeah, and we cannot blame the players who come into a broken system year in, year out. So my question and my request to the viewers: make more noise about Safa, and I just won't put the blame on Danny Jordan's shoulders only. He is the face of the monster, right? But the whole system is corrupt, and flawed.
It's captured.
Yeah,
It's captured. Safa's captured.
for individual benefits.
It's captured. It's captured easy because and who really spilled the beans on whatever's going on in there. The system is
and
captured.
it was unfortunate, Uti, by the time she spills the beans, she's competing for presidency and
then
she's
they're
losing,
they
so
spill
the
beans.
credibility is then questioned.
Yeah.
But what we must never take for granted is what is then said during these campaigns, you know, because that then shows the true nature of the NEC and how the administration.
Apparently,
as a whole is.
some regional offices don't have offices. Some regional associations in South Africa don't have offices to operate from. Some Safa regional associations don't have offices to operate from.
And
How does
then-
that make sense?
Yeah, and then we call ourselves the
really,
richest
I've never
association in
seen
Africa.
where I come from in East London or whatever. I've never seen a Safa regional office there.
But there's a budget somewhere.
Of course, there should be.
There's a budget somewhere.
There should be like a Safa office in the mains, all the hubs in South Africa. Why
But-
isn't there one?
then with that said, right, then someone will then accept a 500,000 payment
For what?
for covering that region and being an NEC member responsible for that region, and there's no office. How do you then accept the
that
money knowing?
What is it doing?
Yep. Because if they then say, oh, listen, this is for your performances and your effort over the 4 years. Okay, fine, I accept
What have
that.
you brought?
Now, let's look at then the effort over the 4 years.
What has
Because
been brought?
one region might be flying, and you can warrant why we've given them 500,000. But a region that is lacking attention and resources, do you also then deserve that 500,000?
It's fucked up. Let's be honest.
No.
We can keep on having this Safa debate, but my hope is that this debate will escalate slowly but
We
surely.
need to have those
Like
conversations.
slowly but surely escalating up until it gets to a point where we all wake up and say, it's time to get these people out of that office.
Yeah, the focus needs to be on the administration
Yes.
and less on the players.
They need to get out of that office.
Yes, because no matter what happens, right, we can have 1,000 players coming through the system, but if the administration and that system is broken, we'll have 1,000 failures.
Of course. So we've got a problem. For a big problem, we've been saying this. I've been supporting Dr. Kumalo, Lucas Kotebe, all the players, you know.
Give us your comments, guys. Give us your comments in terms of what needs to be done for our South African football, especially regarding the administration.
Yeah, I mean, it's a painful fact that we are living in a captured state in terms of, I think, everything. I think besides the major sports, like, I'm gonna be controversial. Besides the former white sports, which is cricket and rugby, their transformation is apparent, progress is seen.